So, today we're going to tackle a huge paradox in trading. It's this idea that playing it safe, locking in a small win to protect yourself, might actually be the one thing that's secretly killing your profits. It sounds completely backward, I know. But as we're about to see, the math doesn't lie. Okay, let's just dive right in. This one question, it kind of blows up a piece of advice we all hear, right? Nobody ever went broke taking a profit. But here's the kicker. What if that safe advice is actually the thing that's slowly, systematically bleeding your account dry? All right, so first up, let's really unpack this idea. It's one of those things that just feels right, doesn't it? It feels so smart, so prudent. But the truth is, it's built on a foundation of, feelings, not math. And that's a dangerous place to be. And look, you totally get why people do it. You see that green on your screen, the market's whipping around, and your brain is just screaming at you, grab it now before it's gone. It feels like the smartest, most risk-averse move you could possibly make. But it's a trap. Okay, so let's shift gears. Let's talk about what an actual, profitable trading system looks like from a quantitative point of view. This is where we leave the feelings at the door and get into the cold, hard numbers. At the end of the day, the entire game of pro trading really boils down to this one single idea: expectancy. Think of it like the engine of your whole system. If it's positive, you make money over time. If it's negative, you lose. It really is that simple. And here it is. This is the formula that makes it all tick. And it's kind of beautiful, right? It's all about balance. See, you don't need to win every trade. You don't even need to win most trades, as long as your average win is big enough to pay for all your losses and still have some left over for you. This equation right here dictates everything.
So this might actually surprise you, but this is what professional trading can look like. Some of the most robust, long-term profitable strategies win less than half the time. Yeah, you heard that right. They're losing on 7 out of 10 trades. So how in the world are they making money? Well, it all comes down to just how massive those few wins are.
And that brings us to this number, which is absolutely critical. For that system that only wins 30% of the time, your average winning trade has to be more than 2.33 times whatever you risked just to not lose money, just to break even. Let that sink in for a second. Your entire edge, your entire reason for being profitable, it lives only in those big wins. Okay, here we go. This is the main event. Let's actually run the numbers and see the devastating impact of one tiny, safe decision. So let's set up a little experiment. We've got 2 scenarios. We'll use R here to stand for your initial risk. So if you risk $100, 1R is $100. 4R is a $400 profit. Simple. In scenario A, we're disciplined. We just follow the plan, we let it run to our 4R target. But in scenario B, we get a little nervous. We do that thing that feels so smart. We close half the position when we're up to R. Now look closely. The win rate is exactly the same, but that little safe move just chopped our average win from 4R all the way down to an effective 3R. In this chart, wow, this just lays the damage bare. So our original system, the one we didn't touch, it had a really healthy expectancy. It made half an hour on average per trade. But that one little safe move, look at that. It just slashed our profitability by 60%. 60! You basically took your own winning system and just crippled it. Okay, so if the math is this obvious, why on earth do so many of us fall for this trap? Well, the answer is simple. Trading doesn't happen in a nice, clean spreadsheet. It happens in real time under this crazy amount of pressure, especially when you hit those losing streaks that we all know are coming. And this is really the key to the whole thing. That nice positive expectancy we calculated, that 0.5R, that number only appears after a ton of trades, hundreds of them. In the short term, say the next 10 or 20 trades, it's just random noise. And that noise can be absolutely brutal. So for our system, that 30% win rate one, what are the chances of hitting 10 losses in a row? Well, it's about 2.8%. Now that sounds pretty small, right? But let's put that number into perspective. Because over a career of, say, 1,000 trades, hitting a streak of 10, 12, even 15 losses in a row isn't just possible. It's a mathematical certainty. It's gonna happen. And surviving that psychologically is what separates amateurs from professionals. It's deep inside those horrible drawdowns where that little voice in your head, the one telling you to just take the small win, gets deafening. And this brings us to the final and maybe the most important piece of the puzzle. See, it's not just the market's math that's working against you. It's the wiring inside your own head.
There's this Nobel Prize-winning idea called prospect theory, and honestly, it explains everything. It basically proves that we humans are just, well, we're fundamentally irrational when it comes to money, risk, gains, and losses. And it perfectly explains the profit-taking trap.
And it comes down to these two psychological quirks. First, there's the certainty effect. We are wired to prefer a small, guaranteed win over a much bigger but uncertain one. We just love certainty. And then there's loss aversion. This is huge. The pain of losing something feels about twice as strong as the pleasure of gaining the exact same amount. Just let that sink in for a second. Your brain is literally hardwired to feel the pain of watching a winning trade turn into a loser way, way more intensely than the joy of that win in the first place. This emotional asymmetry is why traders sabotage winning trades. They aren't trading their system, they're trading to avoid pain. So, okay, we've got the math, the stats, and our own crazy brains all working against us. What's the solution? How do we fight back? What is the unbreakable rule that can protect you from yourself? The whole game is a mental shift. You have to get to a place where you truly, deeply believe that the outcome of your very next trade is totally random. It's meaningless, it's just noise. The only thing that actually matters is your bottom line after 500 trades. You have to stop managing trades and start managing your system's integrity. And that really leads to the only rule that actually works. It's this simple. If your backtest says take profit at 4R and stop out at 1R, then that is exactly what you do. Every single time. No exceptions. The second you manage it or tweak it, you're not trading your system anymore. You're trading a new, untested, emotional system. And you're basically just throwing your proven edge right out the window. So that's really the question I want to leave you with. The next time you're in a trade and you feel that powerful urge to interfere, just stop and ask yourself, are you trading your edge or are you trading your emotions? Because your answer to that one question in that one moment will probably determine your entire future as a trader. Thanks so much for joining me for this one.